Subscribe to AmpCode and ring the notification bell to get the latest content.
Let's first integrate our Apache Spark with these platforms like Hive, Hadoop, MongoDB as well as Cassandra. So without further any ado, let's jump on to the HDP sandbox and start with the integration part. Okay, so I hope you have already kicked off your HDP sandbox. So that is the first prerequisites for this lecture. So I hope all the services are running fine without any issues. To check those services, we are going to head over to the Ambari on the port localhost 8080 and see if all the services are running fine without any issues. So just go to your favorite browser and just search for localhost 8080, which is nothing but a login page of Ambari. And if you remember correctly, Ambari is nothing but a UI where you can manage all your resources which are deployed on your Hadoop cluster. So, and hope you already know about the password as well. We have the Maria_dev as the username and the Maria_dev as the password, which is provided by Cloudera, or you can say HDP Hortonworks itself. So just sign into that and you will able to see the whole Hadoop cluster running and waiting for you to process the data. So here, as you can see, we got all the services. We got HDFS, which is the storage layer of Hadoop. We got the Yarn, which is resource negotiator. We got the MapReduce up and running. So as you can see, all the services are up and running. Instead, you can also see some exceptions, like I'm seeing that in Ranger, but you can definitely ignore those warnings because after a while it will go away. So basically we have the Hive. So as you can see, the Hive is already deployed on the Hadoop cluster and it is a part of the Hadoop ecosystem itself. So to able to access Hive, the first step will be like it should be up and running. So as you can see, the Hive metastore, which is nothing but a repository which has all the metadata of the Hive tables. Also it have the Hive server which processes the SQL query and turns it into the MapReduce job. Also you got the MySQL server, WebHCat server. So all these steps, all these services are running fine without any issues. So the first step is you just have to go into the Hive view. So you just have to go into this drop down and Hive view. So just go into the Hive view and you will able to access all the databases and tables inside it, and you can directly submit a SQL query using the web UI itself. But we are going to use Apache Spark to leverage Apache Hive and process the data. So as you can see, we got the database explorer here. So we already have some databases which are already loaded, which is default. We got the food mart and we have created some movies data. So you can just create any database here by using the create command, and I hope you got all the privileges because Maria_dev has the privilege to create databases and tables. So I have just created a sample table in movies data, which is ratings. So if you go into the ratings, we have the user ID, movie ID, rating and TS, which is timestamp. So basically, if I wanna write any SQL query on this Hive, I just have to go like the select star from maybe the movies data ratings. So ratings is a table that I have just created to play around, and I'll just give like 10 records by using the limit. So here we are just fetching all the columns for 10 rows present in the ratings table. And here if you just execute this, so under the hood our Hive will convert the SQL query into the MapReduce job, which is then distributed across the cluster and processes the data. So there is a lot of work going on, so that's why it's taking time. So you have to remember that Hadoop is only suitable to handle big data, and if you are running like smaller task on the Hadoop, it will only take time because of the reading and writing overhead. So as you can see, our query has been succeeded and we were able to fetch the data through seamlessly. So we have the user ID, we got the movie ID, we got the rating and the timestamp. So our goal is to achieve the same thing using the Spark SQL. So for that purpose, you have to go into the Pyspark shell because we don't have the IDE which can integrate with the Apache Spark installed on this Hadoop cluster, because integrating Hive with our local Spark setup is a tedious task, and to simplify your learning, we will just use Pyspark, which is already present on the Hadoop cluster. So how we can access it? So for getting started, we will not go into the scripting part. So we will just go and submit some Pyspark commands using the command line itself. So to able to do that, I hope you already have the Putty installed on your system. So just go ahead and connect to Putty, and you just have to remember the Maria_dev credentials. So I'll just load them for you. So the host name is Maria_dev@localhost and the port is 2222. So this is, we are communicating with our Hadoop cluster using the Putty terminal. So you know the password, which is Maria_dev. That's it. So for the first step, all you have to do is just submit the Pyspark command, which will open the Pyspark shell for you. So just type like Pyspark, and that's it. You just have to press enter and wait for creating the Spark session. So it will take maybe 1 minute to boot your Pyspark shell, and there you go. So you have the Spark version of 2.3 with the Python version of 2.7. This is pretty old version because HDP Sandbox is no longer supported by Hortonworks after it got carried away to Hortonworks. So that's why we got a pretty older version. So there might be some differences in the syntax also. So just watch for that. So the first step is you got the Spark session created already. So as you can see, the Spark session is available as the Spark. So Spark, we can use this Spark in our code to able to read the data from Hive. How you can do that? There is a simple approach. We will be using the Spark.SQL to able to connect to Hive. So to do that, all you have to do is just, we will see all the databases. So that will be the first task. To do that, we'll just give like Spark.SQL, and inside that we can run Hive queries inside the string. So the first step will be like, let's get all the databases. So we'll get like show databases here, and we'll go just call an action as show, because you know Spark has a lazy evaluation, and until and unless we call an action, it will not do anything. So just give this command to able to fetch all the databases available in our Hive. So there you go. You got the default database, you got the food mart, and you got the movies data. So basically we already submitted a query on top of the movies data, and we have the ratings table inside the movies data. So let's take an example for that only and submit some simple query. So all you can do is you can just create a data frame on top of it. So I'll just create the data is equal to, so I'll just create like df is equal to Spark.SQL, and let's run a simple query which is like select star from movies data, which is the database dot ratings. So this is pretty simple query. So we are just storing this information in our data frame, which is known as df. So I'll just hit submit, and there you go. The data frame is already created. So you can run all sorts of operation on this data frame now. You can run every transformation available in Pyspark on this data frame to create new data frame, because you know that data frames are immutable. You cannot change it once created. So you can also submit SQL queries on top of it using the Spark SQL that we have done here. So to get the data, just let's take the count first. So df.count, so count is also an action and give us the count of the data frame. So as you can see, we got like 100k records in the table. So this is not a big table, but 100k is also a lot. So we'll just take few records. So just get the schema of it. So we'll just get the schema of this data frame. So as you can see, we got the user ID, we got the movie ID, the rating, as well as the TS. So first step is, let's get the movies which has the rating which is 5. So to do that, we are just going to use the filter here. So df.filter command, and we'll apply the filter on the rating column. So here we have like the rating column, which is the known as rating, and it should be equal to 5. So as you can see, 5 is rating is stored as an integer here, and we will just show and get the 5 records from the movie from this data frame. So as you can see, There you go. You got the user ID, we got the movie ID and the rating, which is 5. So this is how you can run all sorts of operation on top of our data frame to get the meaningful insight out of it. And you can also write your result back as a Hive table itself by using the right method, and also save this data frame as a new table. So this is how you can integrate Apache Spark with Hive.
Okay, so that's it for today. I'll see you in the next lecture.